What's up everyone, welcome back to Arc Exotic Customs. Today's build is one I've been wanting to do for a while. We're completely reconfiguring our sim rig to match one specific car, the 350Z. From every single detail, from the wheel to the pedals, which the pedals are sitted flat and I want them vertical, to the handbrake, shifter, and even seat position. All of it dialed in to replicate the real driving experience as closely as possible. This isn't just a sim build, this is the 350Z in your living room. And I wanted this video to be useful to you, so we're walking through every part, every decision, and every problem we ran into. So, if you're building your own rig or upgrading the one you have, you've got everything you need right here. The base we're working with is a TK Racing Sim rig. Unfortunately, it's discontinued. But if you're looking for something similar, we'd point you towards Track Racer US. It's a great alternative and we'll leave it linked in the description. The new parts we're going to be throwing on the rig is this 20th anniversary NRG shift knob, this Nameless Gold Handbrake, an NRG hub to fit our new wheel onto the old adapter, and a brand new Lone Star drift wheel. Gotta shout out the homies. First thing on the list is swapping the stock MOZA wheel for the Grip Royal Lone Star drift wheel. To make that connection work, you need the NRG Quick Release Adapter 2.0. It shares the same bolt pattern as the Lone Star wheel and mounts directly to the R5 base. Perfect fit, no modifications needed. One thing before you touch anything else though, pull the horn wiring out first. 2 screws and it's done. Those wires are long enough to reach the R5 base connectors, and if you're not careful, you can damage those. This rig weighs about 60 pounds. Moving it around solo isn't fun, and the metal subframe has some sharp edges on it, so grab a pair of gloves before you start. I didn't, and I learned that the hard way. The sim base was originally planned one way, and I ended up having to re-engineer pretty much every part of it. The biggest change was flipping the pedals around. The 350Z has a specific feel to how the pedals are set up. Heel-toe braking is a big part of how that car drives, and I wanted to replicate that with the sim exactly. So, instead of the pedals sitting flat on the floor in the standard position, I wanted them inverted, high-mounted, angled back, the way how they actually feel in the car. Now, we're getting into some of the detailed fitment work, pedals, wiring, and all the components that make a sim rig actually function. The pedal plate mounts to the bottom of the rails of the frame, and I'm using T-nuts and M8 socket head bolts to make my life easier. Before you lock down anything permanently, sit in the seat with your heel on the plate, and check your knee angle. You want this roughly around 90 to 110 degrees of knee flex with your foot resting on the brake. Same as a real car's driving position. If your knee is fully extended when you're on the throttle, your pedal plate is too far forward, so bring it back a little bit. One thing I wanted to say about this build phrase is don't rush it. I know when you're looking at a pile of parts, you just want to bolt everything together and start driving. Resist that. Dry fit every component before torquing anything down. Sit in the rig before you lock down the pedal position. Run your cables before you close everything up as well. The decisions you make in this stage are the ones that determine whether the rig is comfortable to drive for the next 6 hours or whether your back is going to start killing you after the first 30 minutes. So take your time here. You'll thank yourself later. I want to talk about why the rig is built the way it is. It's because there's a real car behind it. The sim rig is an extension of that mentality. The stock OEM 350 seat, the green frame, red harness, and suede wheel. Every choice is intentional because that's how I approach mechanical builds. Your sim rig should reflect your car culture identity. It should look like something you built because you care about it, not just because you threw it together and wanted to start driving. This is the custom floor plate I'm fitting here. Green powder coated steel, drilled and bolted for the base of the cockpit section. This piece does two things. First, it fills the undercarriage of the cockpit and makes the rig look more intentional and finished instead of looking like an open frame. Second, it gives a mounting surface. Button box, USB hub, wireless charger, cup holder, whatever you want to be in there. This plate is where it goes. Details like this are what separate a build that looks custom from a build that looks assembled. Ultra-wide monitors for sim racing aren't just a luxury, it's a visibility tool. You get to see more of the track, your peripheral cues are more accurate, and your sense of speed is dramatically better than a standard 16:9 panel. Setting up your FOV is also important. It helps judge your actual FOV in the car, so you're able to go from sim to IRL with full confidence. Getting the shifter position right took a bit of patience, but the main thing to watch for is the reverse throw. Longer throws can cause clearance issues if the shifter isn't positioned correctly relative to the rest of the rig. Just take your time. Check the range of motion before you lock anything down. The handbrake was built to order, so there was a bit of a wait before we can get the part for the build. But once it arrived, we actually took it over to our guys at Joyride HQ, and they got it fitted to the stock base. This is Joyride HQ. We have been drifting with these guys for a couple years now. They are amazing in their fabrication department, so we had to trust them with this small job. What you're looking at right now is us measuring where the holes need to be for the handbrake base. This is so we can bolt the handbrake properly onto the base without having to weld or weaken the part. It's made out of aluminum, so it's strong, light, and machines clean. Now remember, always when you're drilling aluminum, use cutting fluid or oil. Go slow on entry and let the drill bit cut at its own pace. Rushing drill work in aluminum means blown holes and parts you have to remake. The mod itself is pretty simple. We drilled out the top hole by 2 sizes using as much lube as possible. Since it was pre-drilled, we didn't really have too much of a hassle. Now, in doing a project like this, you don't need a full machine shop to build a great sim rig. But if you do have access to a small bench top, a vise, a few drill bits, and a drill, the custom parts you can provide are a completely different level. Precise, repeatable, professional looking. A lot of people have those 2 tools as their core fabrication setup, and if you're thinking about getting into this hobby long term, that investment pays off. Drilling a hole for the bottom mounting point was easy, it just took some time. To start the bottom hole, we ended up putting the top hole in and then measuring the bottom for perfect placement. From there, we were able to make an indentation and start drilling a small hole for your bigger drill bits. Go up a size every time until you have the correct size. Easy work, big difference in how solid the whole handbrake sits. Anytime you're doing custom fabrication work like this, center punch your holes before you drill. Go slow on entry and deburr your edges when you're done. Clean holes make clean assemblies. Parts like this are what make people stop and ask who built your rig. They're not the most expensive components, they're not the most technically complex things to build, but they do look like they came out of a race shop because they were, and it's the same level of care and attention to detail as a real race car. Mounting it back on the rig just took a couple nuts and bolts and it was fairly straightforward. One thing worth mentioning is the springs on this handbrake are swappable. If you prefer a stiffer pull or something lighter, you can dial that in. It's a really nice touch. And that's the build, $1,307 all in. And what you get is a sim rig that doesn't just feel good, it feels like your car. If you're building this yourself, everything is linked below, parts list, pricing, all of it. Drop any question in the comments and we'll answer them. If you made it to the end of the video, you have everything you need to start your own build. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're at, just getting started, mid-build, or already driving. Subscribe for more content. There's a lot more coming. We'll see you in the next one.